Hi, I was Derek here. I was talking with most people, thinking more about cognitive functions and what that whole flip-flop thing relates or reveals about them. And it reveals about the nature of the NESI phenomenon. For example, Eric, for example, not example. For example, well, I can't remember now. I got my guy right. So it's kind of like we're playing a game that everybody else can see the progression of moves. What's happened before. But we can't. Like every turn we gotta assess the board again brand new. Like we had learned nothing. Everything we've learned is conditional on the board. So every move by any other factor on the board makes the whole conditionality load change. So that's why we have to be like that. It's the only way to be effective in terms of actually being right all the time, winning all the fights, you know? So the trouble we have then is reconciling the fact that when we start to know what we're doing, we're able to always framework out, and those frameworking out moves, though, will often contradict each other in different conversations. And so it makes us relativists necessarily if we get that far. It's like the second to last stage. And we don't always get that far. We don't always get that far because I think faith in ENTPs is more common than people think. Religious faith, spiritual faith. And I think a lot of ENTPs get there before they ever work through all these ideas, just because they're a wreck. This is one of the themes I want to sort of develop here, is the notion that it's not fair the way we're described in the typing stuff. That it's not fair to call a group of people visionaries. How are we supposed to live up to that? It's ridiculous. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. That's not the point of this video anyway. The point of this video is, here's an example of a younger ENTP's learning their ENTP way and why the order has to go the way it does. So, one thing I remember doing a lot more when I was younger was doing an NESI solvency attempt at FE dissonance. What does that mean in English? It means if I had a conversation with somebody and I believed that they got the better of it or something, then I'd go over that conversation over and over in my head and think about different things that I could have said and then walk through those potentialities. So if they said that this next time, I would say this, blah, 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 blah. Well, what that didn't do was it didn't achieve solvency for my FE problem, because, number one, since I didn't have coming up in my cognitive garden there, my conscious cognitive garden, I didn't have FI coming up there, I operated on the assumption that, oh, he finished that conversation smug, and I finished that conversation defeated. And so he's walking around, he gets to hold that emotion all the time. He has that all the time. It's permanent. It's a badge he wears now. Why would I assume that? Well, because I have no idea how emotions work. And so I just give them the same sort of object permanence that cars have. Like, well, Joe drives that kind of car. He'll still drive that kind of car next time I see him, unless something weird happens. Well, that's not how emotions work, Eric. Well, I know that now, but I literally, I think I'm just starting to understand what I'm saying. You know, it's weird. It's a weird blind spot for me, and I have so much trouble with it. Regardless, point is, given that that's my assumption, coming up with ways how, if the past had been different, that wrong mechanism that I'm applying to that guy's emotions would be just as wrong, but applied to a different emotion. So the problem here is it doesn't work. I don't get to solve it that way. So I think that's why SI is relegated to 4 after NE. We don't have an NESI person for a good reason. And SI is an incredibly shitty tool for NE to use. It goes, NE does its conditionality thing, it does its potentialities thing, but it does it about what would have happened if what did happen were different. And that's a stupid waste of time. So I remember when I was a kid, I used to do that a lot, and I don't remember when exactly it stopped, but I haven't done it in years. They don't do that anymore. Instead, what I do now is somebody got the better of it, I think. Here's how I'm going to set it up for next time, knowing that they're going to say different things next time, right? I anticipate what might be said. I anticipate everything that might be said, every line of argumentation that might be made. It doesn't really matter how it's said, in specific words. It matters is what vector are they arguing. I can almost always anticipate all the possible vectors they might argue. And as a consequence, then if I do encounter them again, and I want solvency for that FE shit, it's mine. Well, that's because what did I do? I realized at some point in my childhood that if I want solvency for that FE shit, I better use TI. Now, why didn't I want solvency for that puzzle I couldn't solve? Well, because I think the order it comes in is your dominant function, in my case, receiving function, extroverted intuition. I think the second one that's going to come in then is going to be the same orientation as the first one, the other extroverted one. The reason the second one that comes in is going to be the other extroverted one is because I'm operating externally. I need a external tool. If I'm operating internally, I need an internal tool. So the second function that comes in is the other extroverted function. The other extroverted function is going to be the extroverted judging function. For me, if your predominant function is judging, then your other extroverted function will be the perceiving function. So it goes, okay, I want possibilities. What's good? Smiling mom is good. Smiling dad is good. Laughing mom, laughing dad. What's bad? Frowning mom, yelling dad, or whatever. Well, what about, why aren't you concerned about your hunger and your thirst and stuff? Well, I would suspect that ENTPs are very well cared for, probably. If these functions emerge from behavioral stuff, then we must be very well cared for. We're not worried about our stomachs and our whatever, our bodies. We're worried about the other person's emotions because we're probably liberated to be that way. Liberated by the fact that our bodies are not experiencing any stress or undue pressures. So once we've got those two functions in place, we know that one or the other should function as a aspirational or motivational function. It's going to be the one that comes in second, because first you are, then you understand. First you are, then you desire. Then you attain. Last, you troubleshoot. That's the order of operations, right? That's the order in which the functions would come in if I'm right. So first you are, then you desire, next you attain, and last you troubleshoot. That's why we come in 1, 3, 2, 4 in that order. And the reason SI slips down to 4 is because when you are trying to troubleshoot with TI, you realize, oh, that's by far the best possible way, the only way I can really attain being in E. Now, I don't know, I'm very curious, don't understand, I'm tripped out by how miserable and difficult life must be for the ENFP who's not equipped with any way of attaining effectively and consistently the possibilities that their NE is constantly throwing out there. It seems like they have been dealt the most unjust stack imaginable. They're doomed to forever be befuddled about what they believe and what they think and why they believe it and why they think it. They're doomed to forever be sloppy compared to the ENTP in terms of execution of ideas, beliefs, opinions, stuff that matters, anything that matters. So, because of that, I don't know how it would come to be that they ended up with settling on that one. Well, I mean, I guess the problem is it's the third one. What they did aspirationally, instead of looking and hoping to see everybody happy, well, they went and said, oh, I want to look and see, I want to see order I can understand in the external world. I want that to make sense. I want there to be a reason why we get up at 6 and eat at 6:30, and I want to know that that's a smart thing to do. What the fuck is going on here? Yeah, I want to know that's a smart thing to do. I want to know my problems are going to be solved with that. It's just fucking stupid. Why did I get up on the street? And, fucking road work. Alright, so it seems as though aspirationally, that's where the difference is. Aspirationally, the ENFP is looking for protocols to explain things, algorithms by which they can know what will happen and why it's happening, and understand that their needs will be met if they do X, Y, and Z. So where's the feeling come in? Well, that's where their thinking is directed. They're not thinking internally. They're not thinking in terms of consistency. That's where their thinking is directed. So how then do they ascertain? How then do they attain that? Well, they use their feelings about circumstances and other people. They develop two kinds of algorithms. An algorithm about people, which says, if I feel as though this person is reliable, or I feel as though this person is unreliable, those feelings are based on, I don't know exactly, I don't know how you know those things, but I don't know. But regardless, you've got those internal feelings telling you about the protocols. You've also got those internal feelings telling you about people. They allow you to make predictions. The feelings will tell you whether something's going to be, whether a given protocol or individual is likely to produce a good outcome or a bad outcome. And that works for you fine for a while, until you realize that you've got to deal with that seventh function. Oh, that's why I feel that way about you guys. It just occurred to me, you have TI as your seventh function. No fucking wonder. Wow. No wonder. The thing is, if you've ever conversed with an ENFP for a while and tried to pin him down on stuff and ask him questions and just try a little bit, just sort of try to get them to test their arguments a little bit, they just fall apart into possibilities. And the only thing that's sound for them to revert back to is, wow, I know I feel this way about it. I just want to be like, oh, you poor human. I'm so sorry this happened to you. But, of course, here's the thing. Our relationship, they're supposed to be the benefactor, I'm supposed to be the beneficiary. So, I don't know, I'm fucking starving. I got class in 8 minutes. I don't know if I have time to get in. I'm going to have to. I'm starving.